I'm kind of stuck between everything. There you go. You still got that second thumbnail just in case? Yeah, that's true. So guys, before 1.10 drop, like CL and I were in a party and like, you know, like we were just waiting for the patch. Like we were just, you know, not doing anything else. And so I was like, you know what, might as well take a bit of do a bit of work before the patch, like in advance. And so I made 2 thumbnails, one in case the patch was bad and the other one in case the patch was good. And so one thumbnail was patch 1.10 is garbage, and the other thumbnail was Elden Ring is saved. So these thumbnails were made before the patch even hit. Oh man. So technically they never really represent what I really think, because they're made in advance. So Elden Ring was saved before the patch even dropped, dude. Oh man. And it's funny because they're so like, both of these like statements are so strong. Like if the patch would have been mid, like I would probably still have used one of the 2. That's so funny, man. Like it, you know, it happened that the thumbnail Elden Ring is saved made sense because that's really how I felt. But you know, like the more likely situation was that the patch was going to improve the game a little bit, but there wasn't going to be a lot of changes, or that the game was going to be just a tiny bit worse. And so like it would have not made sense to use either of them, but I would still have done it anyway, because you know, that's just psychology. Like people care more about these like big statements, and like it's all or nothing pretty much. You guys know what I mean, like for people to click on vids and such. But I don't know, it worked out in my favor. Like at the end of the day, the patch was actually massive, and the game is saved for me at least. I'm not gonna say it's saved for everyone, but for me at least it's the case. Anyone know the minimum poise you need now? Is it okay to not use poise? Well, technically a lot of people go for 109 now just to be able to tank an offhand rapier. To be honest, I'm still on the fence about like how necessary that really is, given that either way you're still not going to be able to poise like a two-handed thrusting sword regardless of what you have. So I'm still on the fence about that. I don't know like how really necessary that is. Maybe it's very necessary and I'm just out of my mind here, but for now I'm just gonna disregard poise until I get a better grasp of like everything. Like I have more testing under my belt of like priorities, because like right now, like a lot of what I did yesterday as well was like we were testing like after you land like an R1 with a lot of these weapons, like what can you do, like what can you do to keep the pressure up. And like for instance, if you land like an R1 with this, right, you can get hit out of its stun, or you can like mash out of its stun and get away from the pressure fairly easily. So one thing you can do is you can like do a jump, but it doesn't even always work. It depends on what the opponent is using. So like it's like a lot of people, me included, were comparing this to Dark Souls 3, because in Dark Souls 3 like all the small weapons were useful, as in they could break poise. But now it's much different. Now the big difference with Dark Souls 3 is in Dark Souls 3, the moment you got one hit, the pressure was on, and it was on the opponent that was getting pressured to roll because they needed to roll. Now it's much different, because if you get hit, there's a, you know, in most situations the play to get out of that quote-unquote vortex is to literally just attack out of its stun. So it's almost like it's not like free pressure at all, even if you land the first hit here. So it's the case like that with a lot of setups, but that's where like like a lot of the new stuff and a lot of the new things that are going to be tested are going to come into play, like you're likely going to end up with setups that are more like, you know, like setups that keep priority, like because you can do like an R1 and then you can keep priority by just having the first R1 with like 2 weapons, for instance. So you're going to probably see like more setups like that. Although to what extent and which one in particular, only time will tell. Because like I said, like so much change that it's really hard for me to like foresee like what exactly is going on here. Same thing for the Ash of War. Like we might see more Ash of War that are useful after landing, like let's say a running attack to keep priority, for instance. CS is a solid setup. Yeah, of course. But like we don't know like everything about every setup right now. Like I said, because of these difference in priorities, like for instance, like if you do that, your second R1 is not going to stun, so you can get mashed out of it. So you can try to stagger R1, but like let's say I've not tested like is it fast enough to stagger R1 like that to keep priority? Like I have not tested that personally. Trusting sword is 100% getting banned. I feel like people are too early to judge on that one. Right now, I'm actually feeling like the Trusting Sword might be a tiny bit weaker than what we had in 1.09, if I'm being honest. Which is a good thing. Right now, that's how I'm feeling about it. What I feel is stronger now is Power Stance Straight Sword and Power Stance Spears, but on the other side, like, it's easier to outplay someone that's not as good as you with them. Elmo, no shot. See, here's the thing though. It's not like you land a hit and then you can keep landing hits. It's just not the case. But most people don't understand that yet. They don't know how to play around that. They don't know when they can mash out of hit stun. And that's kind of like the big difference at the moment. You can block lances and then the lance can't do anything. They need to get out afterward. It's impossible to keep priority on the shield with lances now. That's a huge deal. Like, it's much easier to counter. Big difference. It's still pretty good, but it's not in the same spot it was. Definitely not. Like, you can easily just like outspace lances with PSSS and just always keep it on your toe, because like the thing that people that don't play lances really never understood is that these crouch attacks are not for free. You need to set them up with the crouch. And that takes a lot more effort than just attacking from neutral at any given moment. Like, let's say with Power Stance Straight Sword or Power Stance Spears. Like, the fact that you can just L1 at any time, like that. Like, you can run and just turn around L1. You have full momentum, and you can attack whenever you want. That's a big deal. Whereas if you're talking about lances, if someone does a mistake in front of you, you need to crouch. Whoops. You need to crouch before attacking. So that alone makes it so that you cannot whiff punish if you're not already in a crouch position. So these things, like people that don't play these weapons, they don't know about. Like, you know, it's like you need to play the weapon to know that. And most people don't play lances because they don't like it, which is fine. To each his own. But I definitely feel strongly in that regard. I feel like that's one that's not being talked about right now. I feel like fists are like extremely dangerous at the moment. Like, people don't talk about how nasty fists are. Like a fist running attack that staggers on every running attack, that's extremely dangerous. Yeah, we're on fire though. Dude, that Ash of War is going to be so good right now, like, against multiple people. Like, it's so dangerous, because if you get clipped by it, it's like GG, dude. Is it OP? I would say yes. I think it's pretty OP at the moment. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying the balance is good. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that the balance is good at the moment. I just really like this new direction. And I think ultimately it's going to benefit the game. But, like, I would be crazy to say that, you know, that everything is balanced right now. Like, especially, I feel like the worst offenders are not even the weapons at the moment. I think the worst offenders are like the Ash of War. What are we doing here? Okay. We're running. 2 cats. That's a lot of damage. I forgot where I put my talisman. There it is. Okay. Burning Burning is back, dude. Same player. I want them to be there. There you go. Insane hitting the wall, throwing out the timing. God, dude, the backstabs do feel a lot better. I'm gonna admit, like, the backstabs feel so nice. What if we can use them as a test dummy? Look at that. Isn't that cool? Unlike our low-level character, though, we don't actually gain anything out of killing him because we don't need runes, so we're not gonna kill him.